What do you want me to say to you? Reciprocal tariffs have been the bane of the day. Talking about the big one. The big one is the car automotive industry. That's where he's going to be hitting the tariffs. That's going to be impacting the Eurozone pretty big. Ain't going to do anything to the companies in the US. They're loving life. More so, he's going to be making sure that the BRICS doesn't decide to do anything BRICS orientated. 100% tariffs for those guys. So he's basically trying to squeeze them out. But what about Bitcoin? Well, we've had some interesting news about new US stablecoin regulation that's going to be probably forcing Tether to sell Bitcoin. They hold quite a bit of Bitcoin. Will it impact the market? Maybe. Who knows? But let's break it all down for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Try and keep this bad boy short and sweet. So, story. Trump moves to impose reciprocal tariffs, but not right away. This tug of war is winding me up. It's back and forth. He gives the market the tariffs and says, here we go, we got a big one. And then he's like, well, we're not going to do it straight away. There's going to be certain tariffs. There's going to be certain leniency around certain tariffs as well. And it's just got people all over the place, especially the market. But the NASDAQ has done relatively well today. Going over into the NASDAQ, you can see that NASDAQ has pumped up very nicely, up 1% for the day. Awesome. Given with what was going on today and the speculation behind Trump getting ready to speak, I mean, look, this guy's appearing more in the calendar than the unemployment claims. He's appeared 3 times. Look, 1, 2, where is it? 3, 4 times in the calendar. Like, this is what I mean about Trump. You guys are trading Trump now. This is the only reason why I prefer Biden in power is because he doesn't say nothing. Whenever he would appear in the calendar, it would be like, oh, it's a yellow folder day. And the yellow folder means 0 impact or low. Going into the day's shenanigans, we saw that the PPI month-to-month came in at 0.4%. So prices are going to go up. And Trump is fully aware of the fact that with these tariffs, he knows that prices are going to go up. He knows that employment is going to go up as well, in the sense where people are just going to be earning money. Lots of people are going to be working. All of these business deals that he's trying to get sorted out to increase the employment rate itself. Don't worry about it, Trump, man. It's going down. It's at 4%. Went from 4.1 down to 4%. It's going to go down even more, ladies and gentlemen. Inflation's just going to keep on going up. So what does it mean for Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen? Quickly going into the charts to break it all down for you. BTC. 5-6 hours ago, we were talking about Bitcoin at this current price level. 5-6 hours later, Bitcoin is currently at this price level. Okay, I mean, let's give credit to XRP. It's actually doing relatively well. It came down to its lows and actually moved back up again. But Bitcoin ain't doing much. But maybe it's because of this story right here. JP Morgan says that Tether may sell Bitcoin under new US stablecoin rules. Okay, then, Tether, you can sell whatever you want. But it's BlackRock that everyone's paying attention to. Going into it, I'm not really seeing anything happening over here. But I've got BlackRock, moving things. And this was 9 hours ago. But ever since then, there's nothing much that has happened across that. Going over into the order flow to have a look at where Bitcoin is from the liquidation point of view. Just refreshing that chart right there. Yep, so nothing's really changed on that. Just quickly going into the 3-day chart to understand where we are with that as well. And you can see in front of you right here where we have got lots of short liquidations that could get triggered. And there's not that many long liquidations that could be getting triggered, which means that the bids that came in earlier on today, that big fat order right there of 23 million, actually 28 million, hasn't been fully filled just yet. Let me just refresh this chart just to make sure that we are all on the same page about this. Let me just get rid of this here. Happy days. So look, you can see that order. Yeah, it's still not been taken. No, yeah, look at that. Nearly. There you go. Nearly 100% of it has been cleared. So that's good news right now. And what's very interesting is there's hardly any bids down below here. That's very good news. If there's no bids inside of this range, we've got one order right there, 28 million again. So that could be, ladies and gentlemen, the previous $28 million order right there could be another part of a bigger order, which means that that could be another iceberg order. It could be part of a bigger order, okay, that is getting put into Bitcoin as it goes down, all right? Now, with that being said, quickly going over into the price action of Bitcoin to keep you guys aligned with what to expect, go to the 1 hour time frame and you can see Bitcoin hasn't really done too much. Now, historically, every time NASDAQ and S&P make a significant move up, Bitcoin usually follows suit. But that's not been the case as of late. But we're going to assume that this consolidation area here could be the start of something with Bitcoin to start making a move up, all right? If you do decide to get involved in Bitcoin inside of this range, please make sure that you keep your size light, because as you go into the higher time frames, you still got the problem of these wicks. All right. These wicks right here are going to be a bit of a problem for you all if you are looking to buy Bitcoin inside of these ranges. Me personally, I do not think that this is the bottom. Even though it's consistent with accumulation, there's not been that much of a big move in Bitcoin. By the logic of it all, we've been here before, okay? Just look at this. You've got one sweep lower, another sweep lower, another one, then a nice bigger one, and then one treacherous one to only bring it back, and then they come back into the range, and then they shift. Tell me why this is not going to be the same thing for here. I don't think this is the bottom. Little bit more of a movement lower because the commitment is there. 28 million right there. Another 28 million over here. They want the commitment. If we zoom out a little bit more, the only nearest pool of liquidity that we can see with Bitcoin, if we just go into it, got 6 million down there, 2 million. I mean, we're talking big numbers down here. 23 million at 90,000. Is that a possible thing? Is it okay for Bitcoin to drop 5,000? Of course it is. You want it to go up nearly 100,000 in price, all right? But you can't accept it going down 5K. Come on, man. This is the nature of the game. As long as Bitcoin stays below the 50 EMA cloud, which is this pink cloud-based story right here, then there is a good chance that Bitcoin's going to start marking lower as we head in towards the weekend. Now, tomorrow we do actually have the core retail sales coming into play. And if it's going to mimic anything that we've got over here, given that the cost or the price of goods and services has gone up, okay, that could effectively mean that retail sales could actually come in lower. Because if they're aggressive with increasing the cost of goods and services, then it could mean that core retail sales is going to come in down. But look, it's coming in at 0.3%. That's what they're expecting. And they're expecting retail sales month to month to be minus 0.2% from a reading of 0.4%. So it could mean that manufacturers, producers, they're all looking to increase the cost of their goods and services. And then, of course, that covers them in terms of inflation, interest rates. That is naturally going to end up leading the consumer who is in a position to absorb it, whether it's true or not. Wherever you are in the US, guys, what's it actually like for you? What's the cost of eggs? What's the cost of poultry like? What are you guys actually paying across the United States? I would love to know, because if this data here suggests that the cost of goods and services are actually going up and retail sales are literally coming down, the question you really got to ask yourself is this: how many businesses in your local area are actually advertising discounts? That's where you're going to know if businesses are struggling or not. If they're not advertising discounts, and I'm talking normal shops that don't often give discounts, but then they start putting out discounts, that really is a sign that things are starting to slow down. But because 77% of all the actual companies that have declared their earnings have done great, right? The stock market itself sees that and thinks, screw your high inflation and your high interest rates, not interested in your reciprocal tariffs. It's going to hit the automotive industry. So if you are going to be savvy to it, go check out European car manufacturers. Check those guys out. They're going to get the ones smacked across the face with these tariffs. So take that into consideration when you are looking at this story with the tariffs. But the tariffs ain't going to be coming into play straight away. All right? We've also got the speculation that they won't be out for too long. They're not going to be putting tariffs on companies for too long. What's the point? You want to push your weight around? I get it, Mr. Trump. But he knows that interest rates are going to come down soon, but not yet. No way can they come down yet. That is just going to completely mess the whole system up. With that being said, quickly going over into the bonds market to put you into perspective of where investors' heads are at, 4% up on the bonds. Let me quickly go and have a look at my ETF folder to see where we are with that, as most of my ETF is weighted. Here we go. So we got Vanguard dividend appreciation. That's moved up for us a little bit. Hey, we made a nice little $4 on our BMD bond market. Most of the weight of profit right now is between dividend appreciation and, of course, real estate right there. That will always, those two right there will always be good when the earnings are good. Okay, so if we're getting good earnings results, that is naturally going to be one of the actual ETFs that's going to keep on going up. That's why it's relatively expensive at $200, $204. And of course, the Vanguard real estate one there at $91. Tech right there is doing okay. But as I keep you guys aligned with this, then you'll understand exactly what I'm planning on doing with it later on. But right now, it's a bond play for me. So I'm going to keep it in the bonds. Most of the actual capital allocation is in the bonds itself. Okay. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, to put it into perspective for you, yet Bitcoin is trading in a very sensitive area. If Bitcoin does actually break away from this key zone over here, and we just quickly put it into perspective for you, if Bitcoin is going to lose this 90, if in my opinion, it has to break this point 91, which will then visit the treacherous green vector candle recovery points all the way down here. That might not happen for a little while yet, but nonetheless, it's not too far away. It's only just shy of 11K away. All right. If you go into the weekend and you see Bitcoin still stalling in this range, quite frankly, you're going to be looking at this candlestick here, the high of this candlestick and the low of it. Once Bitcoin invalidates this low at 94 with conviction, then we're getting ready to start rolling over into the 91 zone, and Bitcoin will then attack the 89, in my opinion. That's where you would expect naturally big support to come into play. Because remember what I said, we need Bitcoin to drop fast to come straight back up as fast. That's what we're looking for with Bitcoin, okay? So when you go into this weekend, of course, you got Friday tomorrow with retail sales. So that's more news announcements. But as you go into the weekend itself, just keep an eye out on the news. Keep an eye on what Trump says. Keep an eye on the developments between Ukraine and Russia. Keep an eye on the story with hostages. Trump did say that he's going to be bringing the pain if anything happens to those hostages and they're not following through with it. He's putting deadlines out there. Keep an eye out on that, as Bitcoin or cryptocurrency overall will decide to probably make a move. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, hope you've enjoyed today. Be sure to like and subscribe, and go check out tradersreality.com for more information on the hybrid system. With that being said, have an awesome night, gang. Peace. You winking like a waste man. Why?